Hey guys, Thrasher here. Today we're talking about the champion of the West Quadrant, Pikkon. What's his role on a team? How does he work? How do you use him? How well does he work in the current meta? And how long is he going to be part of the meta? Let's get into it right now. So first things first, Pikkon is a melee damage dealer with a big health pool so he can take a lot of punishment, and he has a few mechanics that allow you to really slow down the opponent's onslaught. So let's get into those skills and figure out exactly how he works. Okay, so if we open this card up and look at Pikkon's abilities, we're going to see three abilities here. The unique ability, which at the moment doesn't really have any value in the meta because no one really uses Frieza Force. So it's 20% strike damage, but you're not really going to run into any units in PvP or even in the current story that this is going to work against. So right now this is pretty much useless. The Z ability is also not of extreme value because you're probably only going to have Pikkon as your only yellow unit on the team. So he will self-buff, he'll get 14% max base health, so that's a good defensive buff, so he can take a little more damage, but it's not going to buff the whole team. Where he really does shine though is his main ability. So buying time is awesome. It increases the cost of strike and blast arts. So along with another ability that I'm going to show you here in a minute, you can really slow down your enemy's attack with Pikkon, so that's awesome. Let's go over to the arts real quick, and he's got a standard strike, standard blast, but this fire kick right here is what sets Pikkon apart from the other damage dealers. You see this feint right here? That is amazing if it goes off. It's a stun that lasts for 3 to 4 timer counts, and when the enemy unit is stunned, you cannot switch them out. So you can just let them sit there, you can build your ki back up, or you can inflict more punishment for 3 to 4 seconds. So he is just a phenomenal unit. Let's go down to his special ability, which increases damage by 15% for 25 timer counts, and that's damage period. So Pikkon is meant to be a melee attacker, but if you have to use Ki Blast, he's going to get a straight up 15% damage increase no matter what you're doing. So that helps make him a little bit more balanced and just pump out the damage. One more thing to mention about this special attack is this is the only melee special attack of the damage dealing sparking units in the game. So Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta both have special moves, but they're ranged. His is the only melee one, so that does make it technically a little bit easier to stop, as you have a little bit more time to hit him with Ki Blast or other things of that nature before he actually gets to you, where it's no longer vanishing steppable or interruptible. So just something to keep in mind. So how exactly does Pikkon work? He's a melee unit that you can keep in, and he can damage sponge for you. So he's not directly a tank like Piccolo is, but if you need someone to take some punishment and you don't happen to have Piccolo up at the time, Pikkon is probably your best bet. The other thing that's awesome is as you're fighting, if you keep using his main ability, now it does have restrictions to it, so you can't just use it constantly. But anytime it's up, if you use it, it can really change the tide of the battle and really mess with the flow of your enemy's attack. So the next thing we should probably discuss is where Pikkon fits on teams, where he fits generally in the meta. Pikkon will work on most teams. He's not quite as flexible as Vegeta, who will work on pretty much every team, or Piccolo, who works on absolutely every team because he's the premier tank in the game. But Pikkon will work on almost every team, and that's because Vegeta is the top damage dealer in the game, and Pikkon is the hard counter to Vegeta. So it's always a good idea to have Pikkon, maybe not even on your attacking units, but at least in your team so that you can use him if you run into a Vegeta. That way you can completely shut the opponent Vegeta down. Okay, so the next thing we should probably do is look at Pikkon's raw stats to see where he relates to the other sparking units in the game. As you'll see here, he has a lot of health. He has the second most health in the game out of sparking units. The only unit that has more is Piccolo. His strike attack is fantastic. He has the best strike attack in the game. His blast attack is not good for a damage dealer, but it is better than all of the non-damage dealers. So it's better than Pan and Piccolo and Spirit Bomb Goku, but he does come up behind Vegeta and Goku. His strike defense and blast defense are phenomenal. He's only behind Piccolo, who is the best tank in the game, and Spirit Bomb Goku, who's meant to be the next tank that's going to come into the character list. So he is very tanky. He has really good defense in general, and he has a huge health pool. The other thing to note is his critical is the worst in the game other than Piccolo. So his damage is going to be consistent. You're not going to see those big critical spikes that you might see from other units. His key restore speed is pretty middle of the road. He is 4th. So he can't churn through the arts cards like Vegeta can, but he is, like I said before, that really hard counter to Vegeta. So the last thing we should probably talk about is how long he's going to stay in the meta. The reason that he's so valuable right now is because he is the optimal hard counter to Vegeta. And as long as Vegeta stays in the meta, Pikon's going to stay in the meta so that people can counter that massive damage dealer. I see Vegeta staying in for a long time, at least for probably a whole nother suite of units. So that means Pikon's going to stay for that same amount of time. And then eventually they'll both fall off due to power creep. But I think this is another unit that's going to stay around for quite a while. If you have him, he's going to be a staple on your team for at least a few months. And I think that's it for our review of Pikkon. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to comment on what you thought of this video below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.